everybody, I'm Tabitha and today we're talking about NaNo. Now if you watched my video last week, you already know my process for NaNo and what I like to have around me when I do NaNo. But today we're going to talk about 5 reasons why your NaNo project may not be where you want it to be and my tips for getting yourself over that hurdle. Problem number 1. You're already falling behind. In my opinion, we shouldn't say that you either win or fail NaNo. I wish, as an irrational perfectionist, that we would come up with another way to say that, because I absolutely hate the term fail. And yet in 2015, that's exactly what I did when I didn't hit 50,000 words on my draft. But the point of NaNo is actually to get words written, to make progress towards the goal of having your book done. Whether you actually finish it or not in the month of November, it's still winning if you have more words on the last day than you did on the first. That being said, a little bit of encouragement for you might be to hear that in 2015 I failed with 30 Days Without Wings, which is now available and is finished. In fact, it came out for publication in 2018, just a few years after I failed with it. And you still have 2 weeks left of November. So failing or falling behind at this point doesn't mean you have to give up. You still have lots of time to go. Don't quit. Keep writing. Problem number 2. The draft is a mess. I would say that's the most common problem I hear about NaNo projects is that the drafts are a complete and total nightmare. Part of the problem there is because you're writing at such a fast pace every day, you're not having the time to necessarily polish the draft as much as you would have. So if you're stressing out about what a mess your draft is, here's my advice. Forget about it. That's not the goal of NaNo. The goal of NaNo is to get the draft done. In the month of December, or in other words, when NaNo is over, I'm going to focus on a couple of videos here on this channel that are going to talk about how to edit or revise or clean up character arcs that were a little bit of a mess in order to fine-tune that draft you finished in November. So for this month, don't let yourself be bothered by a draft that's looking a little messy. Instead, focus on pushing through and finishing it. You can do it. Number 3, the story's falling flat. You probably know this one because it's the one that's the most common when you're staring at the draft and you can't get past it. It's like a writer's block. You don't know what happens next in your story. You have no idea where to go from here. Or you don't like where you already are and you don't know how to save it. I have a lot of tips on my video called Finish Your Book, which I will post in the comments down below for you to find. But the big one for NaNo, my favorite one, is this one. Choose 3 possible alternate endings for your book. One of them should be totally crazy and the most wild, out there idea you can imagine. One should be really simple and very sort of plain Jane and what you had in your head all along. And the third one should kind of be a combination of the two. Something a little wild, but not over the top and ridiculous. Play around with all 3 of those ideas, do a short scene with all 3 of the ideas, and then pick your favorite. The best part about this is it tends to get you jump-started when you're feeling really bored or flat with your own project, and it'll help you find everything that was bothering you about it. This is my favorite tip to use when you have flat stories. But don't forget, you have a link down in the description that'll give you the video to my video called Finish Your Book, which gives lots more tips in case you are looking for one that would help even more. Problem number 4 you might be having with your NaNo. You realized you have the wrong main character. This actually happened to me, sort of. In 2014, the first time I did National Novel Writing Month, I was working on a story that had a different title at the time that would later become Breaking Iselda. About halfway through the book, I realized I might have the wrong main character. I didn't really like where it was going, I didn't like the way the story was working out, and I was really stressed about it. It turned out later that the story got revised. The first half of the book was Breaking Iselda, and the second was Redeeming Jordan, and it was Jordan's story. So if you're writing a NaNo project and you're realizing you may have the wrong main character, you really have 2 options to still allow you to finish your NaNo project and yet keep going. Option number 1 would be keep going with that main character. You could end up using a lot of those scenes later and just changing minor things. Option number 2 would be to open a blank document and go with the new character from this point on, or from the beginning to this point again. You still count the words you wrote because they're still useful for the story, but you're getting words written for your new main character, which is progress, and that's what November is really about. And last, number 5, or the 5th problem you might be having with your Nano project, you had an entirely new idea grab a hold of you and it won't let go. This is exactly what happened to me when I failed with 30 Days Without Wings. A new project came along and grabbed all my attention and wouldn't let me go. So my advice for this one is going to be, let the new one take over. If you have a story that's grabbed you and is begging and begging and begging to be told, tell it. Whether it means you tell it really quickly in an outline so that you can move back to the project you meant to work on, or whether it means you turn that into your new Nano project and sit down and finish it. My advice is always follow your heart and tell the story that's begging to be told. Okay, that's it for me and my tips on how you can push past your Nano slump and finish your Nano project. Let me know in the comments how you're doing on your Nano, and don't forget to check in with me, T Ships, over at NaNo to find out exactly what my word count is sitting at. I'll see you guys next time. Hit subscribe so you know when I'm back. Keep plotting the path to your dreams. Bye!